Welcome, everybody. It's another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, rock and roll Matty Goldberg. What's up, dudes?
What up, dudes?
Yeah. Jim, what's going on with you, buddy?
Living life to the fullest. I sent an email last night requesting.
Send an email?
Yeah, I know, right? Requesting media access to the UFL championship game. And they got back to me this morning saying, hey, we'd be excited to like maybe have you. What is it that you actually do? You have like examples of stuff that you do? And I was like, yeah, so this is what I do. I kind of explained to them what I do in the best terms possible. Sent them some links of some videos that I've done. And then that was at like 9 this morning, my time.
Yeah.
Has not gotten back to me since. So I'm probably just blocked.
You think he just like, nah.
Positivity.
He's probably just like, nah.
Jim, I don't know. Like to me, it's like this is grassroots promotions right here, and that's what they need. Yeah. It's free promotion.
You got to be positive, bro.
Well, I'm trying to be positive, Matty, but like I sent the email last night. He got back to me at like 8 something this morning. I messaged him back like 45 minutes later, and then haven't heard anything back since.
Well, these guys are busy, man. They're running the UFL.
He is busy. I mean, specifically, it's the guy who does the. He's the communications guy, I believe, for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
It's not The Rock just running everything.
I wish, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to talk to the guys whose market
I don't want to pay a
where you want to do the
communications
media
director.
stuff. So we'll see. The guy's name is Brian Stoll. So we're waiting on Brian Stoll.
Come on, Brian, step it up.
Because you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You're so important. You're a super UFL fan. They need a guy like you. It would help them build their thing because you bring like humor and fun and excitement to it.
Yeah.
I'm bummed, but whatever.
Why are you bummed, Matty?
I'm bummed for you. I'm just hope that you get your thing. I'm not really bummed. I'm okay. I was in Vegas. I miss Vegas, but besides that, I hope this works out for you.
I do have a backup plan if they straight up say no. I'm going to try and see if I can see what a press badge looks like, and I might try a little Photoshop action and hit up a store or something.
They might just let you walk in like, oh, we appreciate the effort. Like, we're glad this means that much to you.
I'm going to try and make it on the field at the end of the game regardless, so we'll see what happens.
Just run on there. No one's going to stop you.
Exactly. There's going to be like 40,000 people there.
Yeah.
Dude, you deserve to have all the credentials. You deserve to be on the field. You deserve to interview the guys. You deserve access in the locker room and the showers. You deserve it all.
Especially the showers.
Matty. Yeah.
I would blur everything, guys. Don't worry.
You interview AJ McCarron. You deserve to interview all those guys.
His
a good
wife.
Game this weekend, I noticed. I was watching a little in the hotel room, 13-12. St. Louis won, missed field goal at the end of the game. I'm looking forward to the playoffs. It's crazy to think that I know you're going to say football starts again with the CFL, but in mid-July we got the NFL. The guys are coming back.
It's crazy. We've already been getting guys signed to training camp too.
I'm looking forward to Euro Cup. I think Euro Cup will get me through a couple weeks of the dead of summer.
Who are you pulling for in Euro Cup?
Probably England, but they choke like butt fuckers. They always choke. There's something about them that they get far and then they're up 1-0 and then they just play prevent and lose. But I like Holland. I don't know. I think it's sometimes almost as competitive as the World Cup. But excited to watch just because we need some sort of sports. After the NBA and the NHL finals, like it's weird not having a game on tonight.
I wish they could have flexed the NBA championship game. It feels so weird having to wait so long.
Yeah, it sucks. Really, you kind of lose a little momentum. I feel when that happens too.
Because it goes from being on every single day to just like nothing, and now like
I guess
I haven't heard
they
anything
just
about it in the last
carefully
couple
calculate
days.
which days will do the best for
I'm
them.
in a
So
little
they,
withdrawal, I'm in like that
I,
hockey bet, but I took a beating in sports betting in Vegas. I didn't win one bet.
so Maddie and I were both in Vegas, and you know how like a lot of guys will go there and bro down and try to get pussy and stuff. We watched a
Yeah,
live prostate exam.
yeah.
oh, is
That
that
was
what he did?
Hackmania. Yeah, it was. The reviews of it were like, there's a lot of things that are not true that want to shit on the event. Like they're claiming that the chairs gave people bed bugs. Luke, do you have bed bugs?
No, bed bugs don't hide in chairs. They hide in like
Well,
wood.
that's like the
Trust me,
bad
working in the
guys.
hotel industry, I know bed bugs
Yeah.
very well. And they
So
hide
that's
in
a
like wood
fake
bed
rumor.
frames and stuff.
The,
No.
the event was in the death metal club of Vegas on like
Yes.
kind of a not a tough area, but like
Let's just
you
say
probably
it's
don't
called
want to
the
walk
Arts
alone.
District. All right.
Yeah,
Arts District is how you
and it
rebrand.
was some good
That's the
stuff.
first rebranding of a gentrified area. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it
but it was a
goes.
fun time, and I played in the WSOP event, part of World Series of Poker, $500 one. I lasted 8 hours. I couldn't get a hand, and then I cashed the Caesars tournament the next day, and then I played. My buddy's like, you got to go to the Orleans and play a tournament, and that was so disgusting. It was the most disgusting hotel I've ever been in. I was like, even if I lose, it's okay because I can get the fuck out of this
Oh, I
disgusting
wish I would have
place.
went to that.
Dude, it literally had the food court was Sparrows, Subway, and Fuddruckers, and it had that smell of like the bus station in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Where there's like three restaurants. The food is like so. Oh, it was such a gross place. Everybody there was so rude. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. So, but we had a good time. It was. I had these other buddies that were in town, and they do Vegas a little differently. And one of them said they got a blowjob from a hooker behind a tree, a bush behind a bush.
No,
That's a
we
way to
saw
do
a
Vegas.
prostate exam.
Yeah, we did see a prostate exam. By the way, did you know that Tukey's was in the he's in the hospital?
For what?
He was having
Did John show up finally?
pain. No, he was having abdominal pain, and they diagnosed him with this weird thing where things build up. I don't think it's life threatening, but it's something you just deal with.
Is it like
It's probably from
diverticulitis?
stress. Yeah, something like that. But Stuttering John claimed it was karma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to when I was trying to explain, my wife was trying to explain to her friends where I was, and she just goes, "It's got something to do with incels." I'm like, she's not
Pretty much.
that
She's
far
not wrong.
off.
There was a lot of fat guys there. There was a lot of punk rocker guys there. There was a lot of girlfriends of guys there. And
question for you, would you bring your girlfriend to that ever, Maddie?
Yeah, why not?
Would you, Luke?
No. I mean,
it takes a certain girl to
it's weird. My wife will
it.
watch, 2.5 hour black and white Hungarian films with me, but I wouldn't, those probably make much more sense than what this would, at all.
See, the thing is, that there's the Stuttering John case, and now there's this huge case in Minnesota with this dorky guy who has a show called Steel Toe, and he had this hot wife. I'm trying to explain this to you, Jim. It's so weird.
I'm getting it.
This is like, this is
going to be a 2020 episode because it's going to be like, there was swinging, there was sex, there was drugs, there was children. So this guy somehow lost his wife to this like other bigger YouTube right-wing lawyer. Like he was like, let's swing, but he just stole the dude's wife. But they were doing a lot of drugs and stuff. And the one dorky guy got out because he got cucked out. And he like ratted them out. And now they all got arrested. Like, this is a major case. It's pretty big in Minnesota, I would think. But like, the Dabbleverse has been following it.
Yeah, like the Murdochs in South Carolina. This is like the equivalent
it's so hard to explain,
Minnesota version of it.
Like, how do you explain
Maddie,
this?
you're like, you're a big punk rock guy. Imagine niching, all the subsections of punk rock and then subsections of those subsections, like that's what you have to do to explain this. It's almost impossible.
Well, I'll send stuff to Jim afterwards because I do think this is going to be. I would not be surprised. I know I'm very dramatic, but I would not be surprised if somebody was off in this case because this dude who kind of got cucked out of the situation can't stop talking about this case and keeps bringing up about how his ex-wife's on drugs and this and that. And today, Luke, I don't know if you like. Obviously, you haven't been following it like me because I'm an idiot and a
No one does,
maniac.
Maddie.
But
You're like the John
she
Stossel of
okay. So ready? She is back at the Recadas
what?
because he claims that there was a check for she hit a deer with her car, and the check was sent to the Recadas. So she's there, and he's like, she wants to be a drug whore. She can be a drug. I mean, he was on MLC today, just going off.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad.
we'll drop that because I don't think Jim understands it.
No, it's all fine.
It's more pathetic than
Jim
like
just
the
hears
spring
like I
football, I'll
think
tell you
just
that.
the bits of information like she hit a deer
like-
and she's a drug
I
whore.
feel like it's an iceberg. Like the Dabbleverse is like an iceberg
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
regards.
Yeah.
And you have to keep going deeper and deeper from the limited understanding because the only like exposure I have is off this show with Maddie. And I
Well-
love Maddie's ramblings about it.
Well,
But
yeah, you know what's really interesting is that there's a contingency of people that are against the event we went in the Dabbleverse. There's like 2 teams, and they're the ones spreading the rumors how the show sucked, how everybody got bed bugs from the chairs, how there was nobody there, how there was garbage, there was no drinks there. I think Luke had a good time. My friend David had a good time. We had a great time. I mean, it didn't have that signature moment of Stuttering John attacking somebody or
No.
Bob Levy throwing a drink at Kevin Brennan, but
It was fun. It was a
lot
good
fun. It was
variety
great. Yeah.
of acts too. Like I always love WATP. I love Carl the way he structures everything and the videos.
He does a really great show too. Like you see the preparation he puts in his show, and
that show inspired me to want to do this. I don't do all the work he does, unfortunately, but it's still a great show. It's
yeah, he was very nice. His wife gets abused in this because she's 7 years older. They call him his grandma wife or his mom wife. She was very pretty, very lovely.
she's
but
great.
Like, these people are vicious. So.
That was funny. Okay, so Maddie's friend David, who's slowly becoming my friend too, he's like he's just says all these like off the wall shit where you might not always want to take him out in public. And then he's like, the thing I learned the most this weekend about Carl? And I thought he was going to say something horrendous. He goes, he's got a very strong marriage.
He really does. It's funny because they try to find dirt on everybody in it, and the only dirt they have is that his wife is 7 years older and his dad is dealing with cancer, and that's the only dirt they have on him, which is pretty funny. But it was a fun time, and Vegas is always fun. Like there's just that energy of Vegas. The poker was great. Like I learned a lot.
It was fun, and I went to Meow Wolf too there, which is this insane art installation, immersive. So if anybody's out there, that is definitely a fun thing to do if you want to get off the strip or something for a
I also
while.
want to say I had 2 meals at Flavortown, which I know is right up Jim's alley.
how was Flavortown, Maddie?
Flavortown? What you snuck?
I got the steak there when you guys went to the bar Saturday. I got there right 5 minutes before the kitchen closed. I got a steak frites, and then I had a salad there a couple days before. I will give it a 6 out of 10.
I feel like that's good for Flavortown.
Yeah, you're not gonna get sick eating the food, so that's good.
Right, as long as you don't get sick.
Are the portions good? I feel like
Yeah,
Flavortown
there's
should
not
give
a lot
you
of
a shitload of
buffets.
food.
They kind of cut the buffets out.
Yeah, that's right. There are no buffets anymore. Yeah.
I think when COVID hit, they axed the buffets. They got to bring it back.
There's a couple good ones that there's one that I still need to go to when I get next time to Vegas. I need to hit
There's
up the
nothing
Win.
like watching fat people eat like pizza and ham at 7 in the morning in Vegas.
Also, but Vegas doesn't want to give you any value anymore.
No, not anymore. No.
They treat the resort, they treat these like these are exotic resorts like on an island or something. And now you got to pay for it. Like there was no coffee in the room. We had to go downstairs and wait like 10 minutes for a cup of $8 coffee.
Yeah, because now they each like casino or hotel even has like their own coffee place or a Starbucks or something on the first
Yes.
floor. That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
place
yeah.
you can get coffee. You can't get like any sort of beverage. You have to go down to the convenience stores or some bullshit like that.
No, it's maddening. Listen up, Vegas. We're on to you. Next time I'm staying at Four Queens, and they'll give you everything, I'm sure.
That's why Reno's the spot.
That's what I said. I was tell Maddie, I go, Maddie, let's find a different place for you to gamble next time. Because at Tahoe, if you ever been to Tahoe, that's a lot of fun and it's beautiful up there too.
Make it all the way to
Anywhere they
Atlantic
have
City.
poker, I'm down. If they got good poker, I'm down. But it
Come,
was really
come to Grand Island, Nebraska.
it was
You
fun
have,
to
like,
play
an
in the
Indian casino
WSOP
there?
event. That was a bucket
No,
list.
it's a regular casino.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
They're building the hotel right now.
All right, should we talk sports?
Sure.
I
Okay.
guess.
Maddie, what's going on with Caitlin Clark? Has she been getting used and
Oh
abused?
no, I
and-
just saw we were talking in the hotel Saturday because that's when she got nailed by that other girl. And
Well, Maddie, in the context of, come on, this is
No
WNBA
pun
we're talking
intended.
about. Yeah, okay.
the way I feel about it is I was thinking of how I would put it because everybody's got a take on it, and we saw our boy Pat McAfee try to be super edgy and
What do you
and
call her? A
absolutely
white bitch?
He's like that white. I think he was trying to be endearing, but it didn't really work. I guess I
white
don't know where he's
bitch.
going with that. But
she's my white bitch.
my feeling is you can't. Obviously, these girls are mad because the league is getting attention now because of Caitlin Clark, and I think in any form of arts or sports, you really can't determine what the zeitgeist is of what people are gonna flock to. It's like wrestling. It's like you can't determine sometimes if Hulk Hogan is gonna go over or Austin or something. The people kind of decide. And the people decided like we are interested in Caitlin Clark. We want to see how she does. We are fascinated by her for some reason. And I think these girls are really mad about it, and it's not her fault. She seems like a very nice person. Like there's nothing she's ever done that you're like, what an asshole. She deserves this, except for signing these huge contracts. And why should she apologize? If there's a market for her to make this money, there is. And I don't understand why these girls are so mad because it's going to make them more money. It's very odd that the hatred these girls have for her, but I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to think.
No, I mean, this is, similar to what they did to Jordan back in the day.
Yeah.
Pistons used to rough his ass up. And maybe it's a little more excessive and we're not used to seeing it with women too, which also makes it a little more exciting. But now you're like, dude, WNBA is everywhere. Now you're like Angel Reese thrown out of the game is like the front page. Yeah. So it's insane and everything is going great for these girls.
Well, the thing I don't understand, and I know, the Pistons did knock Jordan around and the game was a little more physical back then. Yeah. Like Wemby comes in. Wemby it seems like a very class act. He's a very humble kid. Yeah. He says everything right. None of the guys are like, when they ask about Wemby, they're like, oh my God, he's going to be a great player. He's like a freak of nature. He can do a lot of things for his body. Like, go for yours, kid. There's kind of that attitude of, well, nobody's like, yeah, he's just tall.
So it's just it's disproportionate though, because you have large stars in the NBA already, right? Yeah. Like apart from
and the NBA has just been like around longer.
Yeah.
Like, it's had the time to like develop and mature as a league.
And I couldn't if you force me to think about it, like as far as players that were in the WNBA 2 years ago, I would have a hard time naming 5 players, I think.
I was going to say, I could
name Brianna Stewart, Taurasi.
I could name like 4.
Taurasi was like the only one I could think of, honestly.
I got Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Jansku.
Yeah, there's maybe Jansku was the only other one I was thinking.
I don't understand. Like you have to go, hey, this is good for us. It's like she's gonna generate all the money, so like we won't have to take commercial flights and be harassed by Alex Stein. Like the money is gonna get shared. We're gonna have more eyeballs on us to show like what we can do too. But it's just been more of like let's knock her around and let's like keep her down because we're mad at her or jealous of her. And it's like it's almost like music sometimes where there'll be a band that kind of starts a sound and they don't make it, and then these other shitty bands kind of steal what that band does and they become huge, and like they're mad at those bands. But it's like you can't control what the public wants to hear. You can't control that
And
the public.
you also benefit, when
Yeah.
like when all these people that ripped off the replacements are praising the replacements and bringing them on tour, it makes them a ton more money than they were going to
Or
make
when
in the
people
first place.
discover them, that's a big thing. But like,
Yeah.
these girls seem very, very mad about this Caitlin Clark, and she doesn't do anything to be. She's not like an asshole. That's the thing.
I've got 3 takes about the WNBA. One,
Sure.
the girls are extremely, very obviously jealous. It's a
Mhm.
lot of jealousy going on.
Yeah.
Number 2, where are her teammates? What the fuck are her
They're
teammates doing?
jealous too. They're
Those are
not
the
defending
those
her.
are the ones I'm pissed off at. I don't care
She's
about
got
the other
that-
girls.
That Boston girl's on her team, right? That
Yeah.
big hoss. She should go out
Yeah.
there and just clothesline someone.
Well, even Draymond Green said they need an enforcer.
Exactly. Like, to my first point, if you're gonna be jealous and like hate her, be super open with it. I want Angel Reese to like actually all out hate Caitlin Clark and be like, yeah, fuck her. I hate her. Because you know what that'll do? That'll make people watch the WNBA. That'll get me super hyped for the games.
Well, it's like Caitlin Clark's not putting up gaudy numbers right now. So this is keeping the storyline going, though. Otherwise it would just kind of get quiet
she
for a little
hasn't been
while.
awful. She hasn't put up college numbers, but
right. And
for
she
a
probably
first-round
won't this
pick,
year.
It
but
takes time. I mean,
no, next year I'm
Peyton-
definite
yeah.
she will.
Peyton Manning sucked his first year. Some guys, he went 1-15. I mean, some guys have a really tough first year adjusting, and she seems like she's not going to quit. Sometimes I feel like just quit, but I'm a quitter, so I'm different. But like, it's very abusive out there because when you're getting like checked, like just cheap shot, it's very gross, and I don't know. I mean, it's a bad look, and it's like we want to embrace the sport, we really do, but like we don't want to see all this crazy petty jealousy.
Well, I liked it when was it Markieff Morris or one of them kept fucking with Jokic, and Jokic just ran up behind him and fucking shoved his ass into the ground. That guy never did shit again. It was like almost ended his career.
Well, that's what my dad used to say: punch a bully in the mouth once.
Yeah,
I'll never bother you again.
I will say this: I've watched double the amount of WNBA this year than I did last year.
I mean, you just
you've seen a full game as opposed
2 games.
to
I've seen 2 games. No, 2 games. I've seen 2 games. I watched 1 full game last year. This year, I even watched the last one. I watched the one Saturday, the Sky versus the Fever that everyone was getting all up in arms about. And some may say that was because it was on right before the UFL on the same channel, but I still watched it.
And there was drama. There was drama. Like,
and it was an entertaining game too.
Yeah.
It was pretty. Like, it was
a
fun one. The crowd was crazy in
Mhm.
Indiana. Like, it was nuts.
And you knew that Angel Reese and the other girl really wanted to win that game. They really wanted to shove it in her face, and they didn't. And they didn't.
They should have talked about it after the game, though. That's bullshit. Not taking questions. That's bullshit.
She didn't do the press conference.
Bullshit.
Well,
imagine if your name was Kennedy. Well, it looks like Kennedy, but it's pronounced Kennedy.
No, stop it. No.
Well, she got her name out there because I never heard of her. Now I know who she is, and it's like, I mean, you're going to be known as the girl that fucking body checked Caitlin Clark more than anything you've ever done. And to be in the WNBA is probably incredible hard work.
Well, she's been dropped by 2 teams already, so
yeah.
This is her third stint. She had to play over in like Russia or something for.
I mean,
a year.
It is. I try to put it in everybody's perspective. So if you're like an inner city girl and you worked your ass off and you're in the WNBA for 6 years, everybody's ignoring you. And then everybody's like, oh my God, this white farm girl can play. And everybody's like, let's, flocking to her. I mean, I'm trying to put it in their shoes, but at the same time, it's like being in comedy, you realize like people that you don't think are better than you get opportunities and make money that you don't make and get things you don't get. And
remember when Isaiah
I let
Thomas
it
said
eat
Larry
at me.
Bird was just a whiteboard?
Yeah,
Damn
Isaiah
right.
Dennis
It's totally
Rodman, yeah,
wrong, but it was funny as
yeah.
shit.
And
Like,
that was 35 years ago. I
yeah,
mean, we're still doing the same thing we did 35 years ago.
justice for white ball players.
But you can ask Michael Jordan what he thought of Larry Bird as a player. So, you know, and Larry Bird was the most non-racist guy and had the most horrific poor childhood in the world. So, I mean,
All
it's
right.
kind
Well,
of
we are on the eve of the NBA championship. Are you guys getting excited?
sure.
I'm hyped.
Daddy, the
I think this is gonna
Celtics are
be.
your team, though,
it's
aren't you? Like,
Yeah, my brother-in-law gave me $400. He never really bets. He gave me $400 to put on Dallas plus 180. So I put in a bet for him for $400, which is great odds. I mean, I think
yeah.
it's a 50-50 series. I don't know why the Celtics are favored by so much. Luka's the best player, so usually the best player wins. He's been on fire. If Porzingis is healthy, he can probably guard Luka because they're around the same size. But I mean, if Luka does what he did against the T-Wolves, I don't see how the Celtics are going to win.
Jim, how
But
you
he's got to
feeling?
carry it.
I'm excited for it. This will probably be the first NBA series I watched the entire way through. So I'm hyped for that.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Dallas. I like how Luka gets mad at the refs. It reminds me of a child, but I love it for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting this series to go 7. I think this is going to be super competitive. I think out of the last remaining 4, these were easily the 2 best teams in my mind.
One thing, the Celtics, they've had a very easy path. They got, the first round was very easy. They got no Jimmy Butler. Second round, no Donovan Mitchell for a couple games. And then I think Indiana was just gassed and they lost Halliburton. So the Celtics have kind of had an easy road. This is going to be a very, very tough test.
But they've had like an all-time historic year, though. It's been a great year for them overall.
They have, but there's something about
but it does feel underwhelming, yeah. And
it does.
They can kind of still play themselves up as the underdogs with the way people are down talking like they've had the easy path, Mickey Mouse, like playoffs, everything. They can still kind of like
this
play
team
to
is
themselves.
bizarre too, because you're like, if they don't win, it's gonna feel like the Braves in the '90s, where they were always like around and in it.
Yeah,
like
they
just couldn't seal the deal, even though the Braves did get one, I believe. But
I mean, it all depends on if Luka just does what he did against the T-Wolves, but that's going to be hard because they'll have a better game plan than the T-Wolves, and I think they have more scores than the T-Wolves. They have like 3 or 4
well-rounded deep team too.
Yeah.
Yeah, their role players are fantastic for Boston.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis is kind of the key. I really think he's kind of the X factor. He's always hurt, but if he's healthy for this, and they can put a big body on Luka somehow and kind of contain him.
Yeah,
I give
just have really loved these playoffs with Kyrie and Luka, though. The thing that shouldn't work is just working brilliantly right now, and
Kyrie found his spot.
Yeah. He took,
and he's
2
matured
years
too, and he fesses up to it, and he's sort of like, regretting his time in Boston.
How old is he?
He's got to be like 28, 29 now.
Yeah.
He's still young because I think he only played 1 year at college.
Matty, he's 32.
He's 32. He's
older than I thought.
He was born in Australia?
Was his dad a ball player too, or what's going on?
I don't know. He was born in Melbourne.
I'm going to say Celtics in 7. And for the NHL, I'm going to say for the first time in 33 years, the cup goes to Canada.
Ooh.
Oilers.
I hope so.
6.
I hope so.
Yeah, there hasn't been a Stanley Cup, I think, since 1992. Or maybe it's 93. I'm not sure. 90.
Yeah.
No, it's like 91 or something.
I think it's 93.
I think it's 91.
All right.
Oh, yeah, 93. 93. You're right.
Oh.
I think the cup needs to go where it belongs, in historic Florida.
I agree. Get it back in Florida. What?
Yeah.
Just keep it in Florida.
Yeah. The home of hockey.
Let the cup
real
retire.
home of hockey.
The South. The
Okay.
South is the home of
South
hockey,
is
baby.
the South is the Florida has been in the Stanley Cup the last 5 seasons. 3 Tampa Bay, 2 Florida.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's amazing. Those 2 teams have had great franchises for the limited time they've been around.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. We got more Sanders family drama.
Oh, more? Awesome.
More.
I love it.
Well, we'll start with Shiloh, the other brother.
Wait, the other one has issues too?
Yeah, not Shadur. Shiloh. So apparently, when Shiloh was in high school, he got sent to detention, and he's like calling his wife, and then the security guard at the school called Deion. Deion's like, "You got to take that phone away from my son. He's calling my ex-wife. I can't have that." So when the security guard goes to take the kid's phone, kid elbows him. He falls over and gets a bunch of ailments. And the court ruled that this guy gets $12 million in damages.
Damn.
Yeah. And so now
This
Shiloh
belongs in the
Sanders,
Dabbleverse.
who's still in college, has already is filing for bankruptcy.
This belongs in the Dabbleverse.
Yeah, this is
You
really
could do the
fucked
Deion
up.
verse with this shit.
Yeah. I can't keep up with him. It's like, I want Deion to succeed. I'm happy Bill Goldberg's son is on the team. But I don't know. These stories are so wild. I don't know. It seems like I'll just let it play out. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, apparently this kid he elbowed him and then he pushed him and then choked him, and the guy was
Kinda
yelling,
like
"I can't breathe."
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg gouged somebody's eye out when he was like a teenager
Right.
at a store, like some Korean guy or Asian guy or something.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of those things where you kind of, as a juvenile, you screw up and then.
So this is what the guy suffered. He suffered a broken neck, damage to his cervical spine, permanent neurological injuries, and irreversible incontinence, just like Jim.
Yes, true. I had a bad fall once, and now
I mean, that's bad. It's like this kid just being kind of a punk, I guess, and then it just goes all the worst way possible. So I'm not quite sure how to feel about that. It is similar. It sounds similar to the Wahlberg situation. But that's not it there.
Can't keep up with the Sanders. It just seems like there's so much drama around it. It's like you get these articles like this guy left the program. He said it's so, because you hear mixed things,
Well,
it's like,
that's not it, because Deion released a rap track this week.
I heard about this. I have not heard the track.
We're going to hear it right now. And this is think about it. You're like a mom and dad. You're going to send your kid off to play college ball. And then let's see who this guy is. So this is who's going to mold your son into a man.
People are aiming every chance that they get. I don't know what these people talk about. Yeah, they talk about it. Come on. You can just keep on hating.
Oh, must be the money.
I think it's slap. Yeah, this slap.
Never appreciated, underrated, but the best. Yes. Now I cross my chest, I'm impressed. No, I don't stress, cause you know I'm staying blessed. I'm coming, baby. Now I told you that I came. The lights don't blind me. See, I'm used to the fame. Prime, been prime, I'm before my time. 7-figure hit away back since 89. It ain't been good to me, the hood been good to me. God been good to me. It's my time for you to sing. Wait, other people.
Amazing, huh? What do you guys think about that?
He's a great cornerback. Top 10.
Great football player.
Top 10 NFL player of all time. No doubt about it.
So I'm going to say a bold prediction here. This is his last year of coaching ever again.
You think so? I mean,
Unless he wins, which I don't think is going to happen because of all these transfers in and out. There's not a lot of continuity that you need to have, or he gets so close where it looks like they're on the cusp of having a great season the next year. I just don't. This is just turning into such a fucking circus, and he's behaved so immaturely. Especially when you're talking shit to recruits and things like that. Like that's just not gonna.
It's been a bad off season. How many games is
give him another
Colorado?
year.
Well, I don't think obviously he's not getting fired after year 2.
Yeah.
I
mean, we'll see how the year plays out. If you win, you win, and it doesn't matter. If you win, you win.
How many wins, Maddie? Maddie, how many wins right now for Colorado?
6, 5 or 6.
You think they're going to get 6, or you think he needs to get 6?
He needs to get 6, probably.
What do you think he's going to get? 5?
Yeah,
the issue
it could be a disaster. It could be 3. It could be 2.
The issue with Colorado that I'm seeing when I've looked at their schedule a couple times is so many of their games are toss-ups. Like they don't have any, since now they're in the Big 12. They have so many toss-up games that there's no heavy hitters like Oregon or Washington they had last year.
No.
But every single game on their schedule, in my opinion, is somewhat of a toss-up. Like Cincinnati's going to be bad, and North Dakota State's going to be like an FCS school, but still, no game is easy for Colorado.
It's also a situation where it can be an incredible season or an absolute disaster. It's like a toss-up where they're going to win 7 or 8 games and be like, everybody's going to be talking about Deion again. Or they're going to win 2 games and everybody's going to be talking about Deion for the wrong reasons. And I don't know which way it's going to go. I couldn't tell you right now.
I will say this. Either way, Colorado will be a top 10 talked about program in college football.
Oh, absolutely. They're polarizing. And
maybe top 5. Maybe top 5 again.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he does have a successful season. And I know like Luke's going the other way. That's going to be a shit show. I'll make another weird prediction. If it goes well, Jerry Jones is going to say, fuck it, and bring him in.
Oh, God. That's like the ultimate of ultimates. But
see, you're going the way of the shit show. I'm going the way of like they have a good season.
The issue with Luke is Luke's right with all these transfers. Like you can't he's like the anti-Dabo Swinney, where Dabo refuses to build anything with the transfer portal. Deion is like exclusively using the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's not good. I just think of like this time last year when, except for him being at Colorado, as far as Jim's concerned, like we're probably all just insanely rooting for the guy and excited for his ascension up the college ranks. And now it's just like, dude, you're doing everything wrong.
180.
Like, and the rap shit I don't even care about, except like you're talking. I mean,
it's like
you're rapping like an 18-year-old kid.
Shaquille O'Neal rapped when he was like 5 years in.
You're supposed to do rap when you're like young,
retired.
Yeah, I think Shaq is
within
like,
your first contract. You got to have that rap career out of the way.
You either do it early or you do it when you're retired.
I
guess so. He's like 50.
No, like he's done coaching. He's done like you're done. Then you can rap just because it's funny.
The other thing too is like we understand what your brand is. You don't need to keep telling yourself what your brand is. Like we know who you are. We respect you. Everybody wants you to succeed. You don't have to tell us that you're this, you're that. We get it. We believe in you. We want you to succeed. We really do. I want him to succeed, but I don't need a rap song to tell me who he is. I know who I am.
What was that lyric in there? It was like,
I don't need to write a rap song about it.
There was a
I got a
lyric
big
in there
hog too. I don't need to write a rap song about that either.
I kind of want you to, Maddie.
I got a big hog.
Yeah, you should have wrote back with Earl Skakel. Then you guys could have just talked about your hogs the whole time.
Did he take his dick out?
No, but he was talking. He's like, I got a big dick. I don't care what you guys think.
Oh, he sends his dick.
And I knew his ex-girlfriend, and she did say he had a big dick. So, you guys should get together and talk about
Deion, you know, like we know who you are. You don't need to tell us in a song. We know exactly. I've watched your practices. I've watched your lectures. I know what you're about. I want you to succeed. You don't need to do a song about it to keep telling yourself who you are. I don't know. I think that comes off a little insecure, if you ask me.
I like the lyric. I told you I was coming. Then I told you that I came.
Yeah, but you got to win 8 games. Like him and Danny Hurley said the exact same thing. When Danny Hurley was a rookie coach at UConn, he said, "Get us now because you ain't gonna get us in a few years." He's lived up to it. Two
Yeah.
fucking banners in a row. Deion, you say that, you got to bring it, buddy, and it's like the work has to be done, not the songs, the work, the recruiting, the getting the right players, the getting the right coaches in there.
So
Coaches are important.
to bolster Luke's take. So
Yeah.
everyone talks about Lane Kiffin being like a huge transfer portal guy.
Mhm.
Ole Miss has gotten 24 transfers. They had
Yeah.
25 transfer out.
Mhm.
I also just looked as like just to like make a sort of other point. Like Nebraska, my team had 7
Mhm.
transfers in, 10 out.
Yeah.
You guys want to take a guess how many transfers Colorado had?
40.
Yeah, I'll go with
Matt,
that.
Yep, 42 transfers in, 41
Jesus.
out.
You
Yeah,
just
it's like one of those guys that becomes a GM and he just can't stop trading guys. And he's like, I remember that Mike Milbury was the GM for the Islanders, and all he would do is he draft a guy and like 1 overall, he trade him 2 years later, then he trade the guys he traded for, then like these guys are the future, and then he trade them like you got to just have a plan. That's what they used to say to him on Mike and the Mad Dog. Do you have a plan?
Yeah, it's just
What's your
it
plan?
feels like
Jim,
I don't know what his plan is.
I still think he's going to do well for some reason. I don't know why.
I think because you want him to do well. That's why you
I think
that.
Nebraska's going to kick his ass, though. I will say that.
I feel it. I think the whole world feels it.
That's
So
a calendar game.
That game is going to be lights out. I might go to Lincoln, not to like get into the game because tickets are wildly priced right now.
Yeah.
But I might go just for the environment because
So,
people
like,
are talking
drinking
about
at Applebee's in
Yeah.
Lincoln.
oh, we're gonna party it up downtown for sure. Because
I will put some money on it.
the
Nebraska.
last time we had anything close to this environment in Lincoln, people are saying was 2014 Miami, and that was when a Jimmy John's car got flipped over and set on fire. So like
Yeah.
the vibes in Lincoln will be immaculate, and I kind of want to be there just to
And
experience everything.
that game is on Nebraska's calendar from last year in September when they got smoked and played like shit. That is one game that what's his name? Matt Rife?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Matt Rife's the coach, right?
sure.
The comedian
That's the
Matt
one game
Rife
Matt
is the
Rife
coach.
wants to win.
The
Was it
comedian Matt Rule, Matty.
Yeah, Matt Rule, whatever.
They
Matt
look the
Rule,
same. They look
alike. Yeah,
identical.
they look they both
Both
have
hunks.
beautiful eyes.
I will say this: my only worry, it's a primetime game.
Whoa.
Yeah, 7:30 Eastern on CBS,
Just
September
don't
14th.
get super
And
wasted before the game.
Nebraska loves to embarrass themselves in prime time.
Dude, be confident. What is
Maddie,
with this fucking-
Maddie, you do not understand what I've been through for the last 12 years.
positivity, man? I've watched a lot of tough Michigan losses with Luke. He's got a ring on his finger.
I don't know if Michigan's down years were ever as bad as what we've been through right now.
No, but for Michigan standards, yes.
No,
I mean, Michigan has Ohio State
no, I mean
standards.
Nebraska, to be fair, has equally, if not, they were so good in the 80s and 90s.
Historically, like maybe.
Yes.
Recently, since like 2000, I'd say 2009.
Yeah.
Was the last time we were like a legitimately good team.
Right. Yeah.
It's been
a
rough.
minute.
I
No,
think we're also like the longest P5 without a bowl appearance right now.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
You're gonna get one.
You guys want to hear
this
some
year.
good gambling shit?
Sure.
So we've talked about before how Michael Porter Jr.'s brother Jonte, who was a Raptor, was banned forever for gambling on his game specifically and his stats. So apparently he himself was racking up gambling debts, and he was told by people that he was indebted to throw those games or throw the unders on his stats, those games, so people could win the prop bets. And so basically what he would do is he'd just go in and then fake a minor injury and set the rest of the game. And that was the way he would sort of get around that.
I don't know why he got himself into this life. I wish him, I hope he gets this shit straightened out, but he's a cautionary tale, and he reminds me a lot of our buddy Aaron in Minnesota. He's a small thinker, and it's sad because, you know, not many people have gifts to play in the NBA, and he pissed it away, and he should never play ever again. And you got to set examples. So it's like he's got to now talk to kids and be like, I had a gift and I pissed it away. Sorry to say, man.
Well, there was another one, Tucupita Marcano. I know I didn't say that right.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he got a lifetime ban from MLB for betting on baseball. Placed hundreds of
Rightfully
bets.
so.
In games involving the Pittsburgh Pirates when he was with the team last season.
Crazy.
To bet over $150,000, as a matter of fact.
You don't know who's betting and what.
And he was
I'm
using
sure
a
a lot
legal
of these
sports
guys-
book too.
Why
So he was the
did-
first
to a
active
sports-
player to be banned for life in like almost a century, ever since our old friend Jimmy O'Connell got banned in 1924.
just go through other people?
All right, if you're gonna do it
So
illegal,
he
do
actually
it.
went to a sports book and placed the
Yeah,
bet?
it was a legal sports book.
Jesus, stupidity.
I
I
don't-
mean, it's just the dumbest thing I ever heard.
it makes no sense to me.
No.
No, but this is, guys, I feel like every week there's a story like this now.
I'm thinking what happens is these guys gamble on other things and they get in debt. And then the easiest way to pay back is like you're guaranteed that if you throw your own stats, I would assume that's what he's doing, but just bad. And you got to set an example, or else it's gonna be everybody's gonna start doing this shit.
Yeah. So that's insane. The also other fun news, the kicker McManus that was on the Commanders
Jacksonville.
and no, he was on the Commanders, but I think he was on
Jacksonville,
Jacksonville
you said.
when he got accused of sexual harassment on their plane ride back from a London game. The Commanders waived him.
We'll get another shot.
You know who they picked up though?
Who?
Ramiz Ahmed from the Birmingham Stallions,
There
baby.
you go.
Oh, man.
He was the first signee out of the UFL this year.
When can you sign out of the UFL? Like when you're
Well, he was released by the Stallions because they got their original kicker back.
okay.
So if you're not like actively on a team, whatever, and then the second you're eliminated, like we already have Michigan players, we already have like DC players and players that are on teams that got eliminated already. That are once your season ends, you can sign with the team.
Gotcha.
You really can?
They've been picking up people for like training camps and stuff like since the teams got eliminated.
But not like key players.
Not yet, but there'll probably be some.
That makes no sense.
Well, no, Matty, it's teams that like once their season is done.
Oh, in the NFL.
No, in the UFL.
Yeah, but you can't pick up a guy like when the playoffs start in the UFL, an eliminated team can't go to another UFL team.
No.
NFL, you mean?
Yeah, NFL. The only thing they
Alright.
could do is like regular
bad.
season. If a guy gets like waived by a team,
My bad.
then they
My
could go
bad.
to another team.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Did you guys
Damn right.
see this Birmingham Southern baseball team?
I read a little bit about this.
This is a crazy story. So Birmingham Southern, this college folded. They have
Yeah, I
closed their
heard.
doors, and this baseball team was still in the Division III playoffs.
It was
They
the
still
only
have-
part of the school going on.
No, there's
Yeah.
also the Palestinian encampments at the school still.
What?
Joke.
Jesus.
They still protesting genocide
Yeah.
in Palestine?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Although I doubt that school would be protesting by that.
Pretty
name. It
wild
probably
story.
sounds like a private
I heard
Christian
you're
school.
big underdogs too.
Yeah, so they did actually get eliminated like 3 days ago, but it's still kind of a funny and crazy story.
How does a college just like fold? You
I
just
don't
stop
know
a
the story.
college?
I guess I should have probably read on the,
I
you know,
think I
if it's a
assume
private
D3,
school, they don't have state funding to begin with.
It's
and
gonna
I was
happen
gonna
like
assume like D3 schools probably do sometimes struggle with funding. Like that's probably a common thing at that level.
yeah,
I'm
colleges are gonna
sure,
fold like
like
Red Lobster.
people don't need to go to schools anymore. You can take online classes from any school anywhere. So you don't like have to go to Birmingham, the south side of Birmingham, wherever that is, to go to
The not
school.
good part of Birmingham, aka
Yeah,
the city
scary
of
part
Birmingham.
of Birmingham. So the NBA is nearing a $76 billion deal with NBC for the right to air games. That's going to take it away from TNT. And half the
With
games are
that,
going to be on Peacock.
well, I have Peacock, but I never really watched the regular season, so I can
No,
survive.
imagine, we did all this shit to cut cords and get off a cable, and now we're going to end up spending more having to have 20 different streamers to watch all the games we
Yeah.
want to see in different
Yep.
sports.
You're gonna
Well,
have
if
to
you're a
have
streaming
16 different
service-
streaming services.
If
Yeah.
you're a streaming service, you want to get those contracts because people will, that's the one way to get people to buy it.
Yeah.
So,
It's the one way because, everybody just, all the different programs, all the different shows and movies just bounce around from streamer to streamer. But live sports is the one thing you can really bet on as far as drawing a crowd.
we'll see if they
So-
bring in the Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and Shaq. Everybody's hoping that's the case, but
Yeah,
we'll see
someone's
if
got to
that
do it. Someone just has to
Yeah.
do it. That's all there is to it.
I mean,
Uh,
Charles Barkley's gonna get a nice freaking paycheck, let me tell you.
Well, we think JJ Redick might get a paycheck from the Lakers too. It sounds like
I don't
he's
understand. He is so boring. You'll watch the NBA. It's so bad. Mike Bream is great. The girl is okay, and JJ Redick seems like a nice guy, but he's just boring. And it's like,
well, he
just
rips
because he
off
had a
like
podcast.
he just rips off Barry McCockener's talking points,
Yeah.
saying Jordan played against plumbers and ice cream
Yeah.
men and stuff. And
Yeah, that didn't happen. Jordan was pretty fucking good.
no, Jordan was
Sorry.
great, but like JJ just, he's just another one of those guys that gets loud and obnoxious to get views. And then he's basically started this podcast with LeBron, I think, to ease himself into being the Lakers coach. And it would be
Dude,
very
Jeff
funny if
Van
it happened. A
Gundy
lot
was
of people are
great.
rooting for it because a lot of people hate him and they want to see him fall on his face.
Well, it goes back to the Duke days. I mean, he was tortured. They had his sister's number. He had a back knee problem. So, like, I think one year Maryland, the kids there got his phone number. He got like 7,000 calls about back knee and about sex with his sister and stuff. He took a beating, but he was a floor puncher.
Wasn't
And
he
he does
the,
admit that floor punching was stupid.
it-
You know what
was
floor
it-
punching is?
What, when you're on defense and you slap
Yeah,
the
the
floor?
dude guys used to slap the floor like a bunch of jackasses.
It's always funny when people do that and someone runs right by them.
I mean, to be the second most hated Duke guy is a pretty dubious distinction. though.
Yeah.
That's a high honor.
God,
Yes.
you got to work hard for that. Also, didn't he have an abortion clause in a contract with some
I don't know
girl?
about that.
I'm definitely sure. I
He
think
seemed to win people over, though. He was this hated guy that kind of won people over. And we'll see what he does. But as an announcer, he's been awfully boring, like extremely boring.
so. Reddick appears to have resorted to an abortion contract in 2007 with ex-girlfriend Vanessa Lopez. Media
Yeah, I know.
Takeout has a copy of the document which states that if Lopez proved she'd gotten an abortion and had been pregnant in the first place, Reddick would try to make things work between them for 1 year. So basically, he would dump you, but if you aborted the child, he'd give you another chance.
I like
Maddie,
the clause.
how's your luck been with abortion contracts?
I never had to deal with that, thank God.
Now you should with that hog, man.
Yeah.
Girls want a piece of that.
Yeah, well,
Wanna go
luckily I
throwing that
never.
around.
Oh, We don't even know the half of it, Luke. I bet Maddie's pumping his seed to half of LA.
Oh,
He
I
keeps
have.
walking out of the room. That's what I think he's up to.
I'm making rice.
That's
Okay,
what they
can you
call
hear
it
me? Because
nowadays.
Jim's got a dip in a few minutes, so I just want to read this very cool story I read on Reddit. Maddie, have you ever heard of a guy named Hugh Culverhouse? He ran the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this concerns a running back named Joe McCall. He was drafted in the third round of the 1984 NFL draft by the Los Angeles Raiders. However, a lingering knee injury would keep him mostly on the sidelines, and with the Raiders already stocked up at running back, they saw no point in keeping McCall on the roster and released him the following season. He was then claimed off waivers by the Indianapolis Colts, but the injury still kept him off the field and was once again released. McCall took an entire year off to rehabilitate his knee before giving it one last try with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa knew what they were getting with McCall's injury issues, but they hoped that he could stay healthy enough to contribute at least a little bit. After a grueling 2-a-days and preseason, McCall's knee worn down again, and he was unable to play. The Buccaneers were now stuck with McCall on the roster. The NFL labor laws restricted a team from releasing an injured player. Tampa didn't want to pay out his contract, which was still only for the league minimum, or spend the money for his treatments. So the Buccaneers tried to find a loophole out of paying him. This loophole involved truth serum. Their idea was to get McCall talking enough to say something that would help prove the fact that he was faking his injury. If they could prove that, they could release McCall and his contract with no penalty. McCall was brought into an examination room thinking he was just going to be examined by the team doctors. Instead, they gave him sodium pentothal, better known as truth serum. Sodium pentothal is good for getting people to talk, but is not necessarily truthful all the time. The doctor started asking McCall about his knee. Where does it hurt? Does it hurt when I do this? What about that? When did you get hurt? How long have you been hurt? The doctors tried to trip him up, but McCall wasn't faking about the injury. Once you push the sodium pentothal, you don't feel anything, McCall says. But the knee pain was still that bad that I felt it a little bit, McCall said. After McCall told the Buccaneers everything they didn't want to hear, they went and released him anyway. McCall's feelings toward the situation are still a bit raw, saying that is no way to treat a human being, and recalling the doctor who administered the treatment, Dr. Joseph Diaco. McCall added that he had learned later that the Buccaneers had installed hidden cameras in his hotel room and hired people to follow him in an attempt to find out if he was faking his injury. That seems way too overboard and way too expensive to simply try to get a player who was making league minimum off the roster. When
Well,
McCall,
that's Tampa Bay. Oh, no, I'll let you keep going.
when
Let's
McCall
go.
spoke to the Washington Post, Bill Brubaker in 1993 about his treatment by the Bucs, his emotions were still raw. That was no way to treat a human being, he said. Today he's more inclined to laugh, which is what he did when reminded of the name of the team's longtime physician, Joseph Diaco. That's his name, he says, guffawing like a guy being reminded of the class brown noser. That's his name. He was a real team doctor, McCall says, with an attention to wordplay befitting a guy who taught high school English after retiring. He didn't care about the players whatsoever. Diaco, who was the Bucs' chief physician from 76 to 2012, declined a Vice Sports request for comment, but told the Washington Post in 93 that sodium pentothal wasn't his idea. Rather, it was the brainchild of an orthopedist who is no longer with the team. Diaco merely watched, and it was just that one time. With all that for Joe McCall, surely McCall says it wasn't just him. Why would you do that for one guy who had a contract worth peanuts? McCall certainly wasn't the only guy who ever got tailed. In 1993 Post story, teams freely admitted hiring investigators to shadow players, a common tactic to check on workman's comp claims. McCall said his union rep told him that the Bucs had even installed cameras in his hotel room. I couldn't believe this was an NFL team doing this. They had people following us day and night, him and a lot of other players, walking pay stubs NFL teams would rather part with. But apparently his piddling contract was the only one a team was so desperate to get rid of that it would drive them to drugs. I don't know about that, McCall says. Not that he thinks much about the whole affair anymore. He sued the Bucks to get the money that was owed to him while he worked as a teacher for the next 7 years. He finally won $30,000 and some severance in 1992. Not long after, he became a fireman, which he's still doing in his hometown of Miami. A drug-sown environment where the ends almost always justify the means. Is it really shocking that an NFL team doctor would shoot a player full of a substance that was sued by the CIA in the 1950s, that was used by the CIA in the 1950s and 60s as part of a top secret mind control program? As McCall emphasized about Diaco, when a player enters a team's training facility, he's not dealing with a doctor, but their doctor. There's a difference. When McCall finally went to his own doctor back in 1986, make that his mom's doctor, McCall was still on her insurance because players back then weren't paid like they are today. And he told in simple terms that he had arthritic degenerative conditions in his knee. Does it still hurt? Yes, McCall says with a laugh. I have pain now. On certain days it swells up. If I go out dancing, it swells up, but you live with it. So that's that.
Damn.
And he still doesn't believe he's
Damn.
the only one they ever did that with. Isn't that fucking nuts? That was a Vice article, by the way, if you didn't glean that from the article.
No, you
Have
can
you
tell by the
heard of
writing.
ever heard of that, Maddie?
No, I mean, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Probably could be a cool movie.
Well, it's so crazy. I mean, that guy was the cheapest player on the roster, and the owner would do anything to get rid of him.
Yeah,
This is
that's
sort of
the
on
worst
par with
team in a long time.
Steinbrenner we were talking
Yeah.
about last week with Dave Winfield, although Dave Winfield was making a fuck ton of money.
Mhm.
All right, guys, anything to add this week before we get out of here?
Get me a media pass, damn it.
Yeah, what's his name?
uh,
Brian Stoll?
Yeah.
Enjoy the
All right,
NBA.
Brian, you know what to
enjoy
do.
the NHL.
Everybody out there, write to Brian Stoll demanding Jim is on that field.
Much love, everybody.
All right, we'll see you guys next week for another exciting edition of the Sports Hole.
Sports
Bye-bye.
Hole.